discussed about the location of Europe. Yes, we saw where exactly Europe is located, and then we also saw the boundaries of Europe. Yes, children, what boundaries Europe is having. So let me just revise before I go on to the next topic. Where is Europe located? Who will tell me?
It lies between 35 degrees.
No, ma'am, 25 degrees. 35 degrees, not 70 degree in latitude.
1 minute, like this I won't understand, children. One, raise your hand. Yes, no?
Ma'am, Europe lies between 35 degrees north and 73 degrees north latitudes, and between 25 degrees east and west and 65 degrees east longitudes.
Very good, very good. Okay, and now about the boundaries. Europe is covered with, on the 3 sides of Europe, it's covered with what? And on the 4th side, it has what? Who will tell me this? Yes, Astha?
Ma'am, towards the east, it is bounded by land, and towards the south, north, and west, it is bounded by sea.
Oceans. Okay. Now I want to know, towards the east, which ocean is there? Yes, Mariam?
Ma'am, on the east, ma'am, there is only land, ma'am.
Okay, and on the west?
Ma'am, on the west, it is, ma'am, the Atlantic Ocean.
On the towards the north?
Ma'am, towards the north, it is bounded by the Arctic Ocean.
Okay, and what about the south? Towards the
Ma'am,
south?
Mediterranean Sea and the Black Sea.
All right. Okay, very good. So I hope you know now how is what are the boundaries of Europe, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now tell me, yesterday we did that. I gave you an example that, see, India is separated with Sri Lanka with a strait, right? Which is known as Palk Strait. What about Europe? But what about Europe? Who will tell me?
Ma'am, can I say?
Ma'am, may I?
1 minute, 1 minute. So many hands. That means you all have understood the content so very well. Keep it up, keep it up. Very good. Okay. Yes, Sujal?
The Strait of Gibraltar separates Europe from Africa in the west.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Okay, next is if we've already done that. Next, after that, we saw the different regions, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you name them? Which was the first one?
Ma'am, Northern Mountains. Ma'am, the second one is the Great European Plain. The third one is the Central Uplands and Southern Plateau. Fourth one is Alpine Mountain
System.
Okay, so we have already done the 3 topics among all those.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now I just want to know, what do you remember among all these? What is peculiar about all these 3? One point each.
Ma'am. Ma'am, in the Northern Mountains, ma'am. Ma'am, the Northern Mountains have old fold mountains, ma'am, with slow and gentle slopes, ma'am, which are made up of hard crystal and rocks, ma'am.
Okay, okay. And what about the second one? With the second one which we did yesterday, who will tell me what's peculiar? What's
Ma'am, may I tell?
Yes, yes, Amriti.
Ma'am, in the Great European Plain, the second one, ma'am, all of those mountains form a rough triangle with the narrow apex in the west and a broad base to the east in Russia.
Yes. So this Great European Plain is also called as dash.
Ma'am, the Central European Plain.
Yes. So please remember the other name also, that it is also called as the Central European Plain. Clear? Have you understood? Now the third topic which we did yesterday, let's revise that before we start with the 4th topic. Okay, anybody else who would Sad, will you give the answer for the third one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, the central uplands and the southern plateaus include many places, including the plateau of Spain, the massive central, the Vosges, the Kazakh Republic, the Black Forest in Germany, and the Ardennes in Belgium, and also the Ural Mountains are included in this in the uplands.
Yes, very good, very good. So this was just the revision of what we did in yesterday's class, right? Till here we had completed in yesterday's class, and then the amount of answers I am getting from you all, I could make out that you all have understood the topic clearly. All right. Now let's begin with the fourth topic. Before I begin, again, I can see most of the students have turned their video off. Janam Shah, Akansh, Advait, Atharva, turn on your videos quickly.
Ma'am, I have a power cut in my area, so I need to keep it.
Okay, okay. But be attentive, Atharva, at least.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's continue. The Alpine mountain system. The Alpine ranges are parallel chains of young fold mountains. Yesterday we studied about the old fold mountains. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
So which
Southern mountains.
Ma'am, they are in the northern mountains.
I'm in the northern mountains.
northern highlands. True. But then here today we are studying about the young fold mountains. Where does this belong to? To the
Alpine mountains.
Alpine mountain system.
Yes. Please underline and encircle everyone. The young fold mountains belongs to the Alpine ranges that lie to the south of the central uplands and plateaus and form a barrier between the northern Europe and the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so these young fold mountains, okay, what they do, they form a barrier. Between whom, children?
Ma'am, between the northern Europe and the Mediterranean Sea.
Between northern Europe and the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay, now these mountains, the Alpine mountain, they stretch from the Atlantic coast in the west to the Caspian Sea in the east. Okay, and separating what? Separating Italy from France and Switzerland. Okay, so these mountains stretch from which coast in the west?
Ma'am, from the Atlantic coast in the west to the Caspian Sea in the east.
And while stretching it, what is it doing? It is separating what?
Italy from France and Switzerland.
France and Switzerland. Got it, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear till here, everyone? Okay. These mountains have steep slopes with high rugged peaks and deep valleys. Okay, so now you looking at this, we can guess the population. We were doing that also yesterday, right? Based upon the location, based upon the form of the land, the population is dependent, right? Which I would like to ask you one question. Which area we studied yesterday was highly populated? Who will tell me that?
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, the central uplands and the southern plateau.
Yes, they are the ones which is highly populated. And why do you think it's highly populated, Mariam? Why? What are the reasons why it was highly populated? First of all, it had?
Ma'am, because there are valleys which have rivers.
It had valleys which had rivers. Okay, as well as the fertile land. If you will see, it's mentioned in the text also that it has fertile land as well. The Alpine mountains include, underline, okay, this mountains include mountains of Alps, please underline, then Pyrenees, Alpines, Dinaric Alps, Balkans, and Carpathians. Okay, Mont Blanc at 4,807 meters is the highest peak in these Alps. Okay, so in all these Alps, which is the highest peak?
Mont Blanc.
Mount Blanc.
If it is the highest peak, what is the distance? What is the meters?
4,807 meters.
4,807 meters. Have you understood till your children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So let's continue further. Let's see what all our information do we have about this. Okay. Next is, in the west are the Sierra Nevada range, that is the southern Spain, and the Pyrenees, which form a natural boundary between Spain and France. The Apennines run south through Italy and Sicily, parallel to the Alpines, and along the Adriatic coast run the Dinaric Alps. Okay, and from the Alps, Please underline, this is important. The Carpathian Mountains run eastward to the Black Sea. Okay, among all these, the Carpathian Mountains, they run towards eastward, towards the Black Sea. Okay, while the Caucasus Mountains are located between Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Please underline, where is the Caucasus Mountain located, children?
Ma'am, between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea.
Black Sea and the Caspian Sea.
Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Please underline that. Now, the highest peak in Europe, that is Mount Elbrus, that is 5,642 meters in the Caucasus Mountains of Russia. The Balkan Mountains are found south of the river Danube, and the Penny Range runs through the United Kingdom. The Alpine region also includes active volcano. Please underline, what does this Alpine region include? This is also one more point which you can include even in your answers. If at all you get a question, to write a short note on the Alpine mountains. Okay, this particular region has active volcanoes. Okay, such as Mount Etna and Mount
Vesuvius.
Vesuvius. Where in?
Italy.
In Italy.
Okay, got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you all understood till here? First tell me that.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Now we will see the graphic version. As I told you to be ready with your atlas, right? So we'll understand the graphic like on the map. Okay, we won't be able to zoom it, right? So I hope it's visible to you.
Ma'am, we also have the same map in our book.
Balkans will tell me where is Balkans located?
Ma'am, over here, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, over there. Ma'am, can we mark it in our atlases?
Yes.
Ma'am,
can you see Black Sea? Can you? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, got it.
Ma'am, the Black Sea is over here, ma'am.
Yes. And can you see the Caspian Sea?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
the easternmost side.
What is dividing the Caspian Sea and Black Sea? Can you see that in the?
Yes, ma'am. The Caucasus.
Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
This is what we learned just now. Let's go on further. Okay, now we have learned about all the ranges. Now we will study about the rivers of Europe. Okay, we in the previous chapter we studied about the rivers of Africa, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How many main rivers are we aware about?
Ma'am.
Yes, Mariam.
Ma'am, Nile, Congo, Zambezi,
River Orange,
River Niger,
Limpopo.
So now those rivers which we had studied in the previous class belong to which? To Africa.
Africa.
Yes. Now we will study about Europe. Ready, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The rivers in Europe mostly originate in the Alps. Please underline this. You remember in those while studying the rivers of Africa, there was one peculiar. Do you all remember? We also studied the ways, through which the path of the rivers.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
And the
similarly,
Nile found the delta and the tip.
Yes, very good, Sujal, very good. And what was one more thing which we were very surprised.
Ma'am, there were 3 tributaries: the Blue Nile, White Nile, and the
Nile.
And
the Adbara River.
Yes. So now over here also we will see the path of the river. So rivers mostly originate in the Alps and spread through the continent. They are navigable and are interconnected by several canals that make the waterways a highly efficient form of transport. You remember while studying about the boundaries, we saw that since Europe is connected with waters on all the 3 sides, because of that, what had happened?
And the
They were
transportation was
able
easy to form, to discover Europe.
Yes, and so similarly over here, if you will see, all these rivers are interconnected by several canals. All right, and therefore what happens? It provides efficient form of transportation. Clear? Please underline that, children, in your notebook.
Done, ma'am.
Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone? Okay. Next, several cities and towns have developed along these waterways. The rivers have also helped the development of several industries in this area. So yesterday we discussed this also. If we have rivers or streams flowing through, we will definitely have a
More population
growing around it. Okay, so similar, over here also it is clearly mentioned that just because of these rivers, what happens? There were several cities and towns which developed, and since people started and coming living over there, what happened? Automatically the industries also developed. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you all understood till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Now, see, it is very nice, in your textbook, they have given you in a tabular form. So this will become easier for you all to learn, to remember, okay? The list of the rivers which belongs to Europe, their length. We are going to see the length also, and we are going to see the source also, okay? From where this particular river originates, which country this particular rivers flow through, okay? And the mouth. All right, so these are the 5 categories which we will learn about each and every river of Europe. Are you all ready to know?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
About the rivers?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I can't see that liveliness. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, ma'am. First river is what? River?
Volga.
Volga.
Underline. First river Volga.
And they should do this for every continent, ma'am, like this tabular form.
The tabular form, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It was not there for Africa.
Ma'am, we can do this on our own.
Yeah, but then still, I'm very happy to know that you all remember all those facts, although it was not in the tabular form for Africa. But it's good here you have it in a tabular form. Okay. So what is the length of this particular river, children?
3,692 kilometers.
92
kilometers. And this river is the longest river in Europe. Please underline this. This is the longest river in Europe. Okay, the river Volga. Clear?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
What is the source? Okay, small lake in Valdai Hills, where in Russia. Okay, and which country does this particular river flows through? It flows through
Russia. Southeast
through
Russia.
Okay, and mouth. What about the mouth? Where does
Caspian Sea.
Caspian Sea.
Okay. I hope you understood about river, the first river, the longest river
Yes,
of Europe.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Shall we go on to the second longest river?
Yes,
Ma'am.
Yes,
What is the second longest river?
The Danube.
Danube. Now, why it is second longest river? What is the difference in the kilometers or length of these, river?
Man, 3,692 minus
2,850 kilometers.
No,
And
minus
the Danube is 2,850 kilometers.
2,850 kilometers is the Danube river. Okay. And what is the source of this river, children? It's
Black Forest in Germany.
Forest of Germany. Okay. The source itself will give you the hint about the country through which this particular river flows. Okay. So it flows east through 10 countries. Imagine. Okay. And they have not given you the names of all the 10 countries. They've just given you, for example, few names of the countries. Example, Germany, Austria, okay, Croatia, and Ukraine. Okay. And what is the mouth of this particular river?
Black Sea.
Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Any
ma'am.
questions?
No,
Have
ma'am.
you all understood till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So shall I go further?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what is the third river? The next
Rhine.
one. The river.
Rhine.
Rhine.
Okay. And this river, the length of this river is 1,230 kilometer. Okay. And it is the busiest waterway of Europe. Okay. River Rhine is the busiest waterway of Europe. Okay. Next. What is the source? Yes, Sujal?
Switzerland.
Next is, which country does this river Rhine flow through?
Ma'am, northwards.
9 countries.
France,
France, Germany, Netherlands.
Yes, countries such as Switzerland, France, Germany, and Netherlands. Okay. Yeah. And what is the mouth? That's the North Sea.
Near
Rotterdam.
Clear? See, children, you need to remember these because you might get an objective question based upon this. They might either ask you to name the longest river or second longest river of Europe, or they might ask you the name of the countries. They'll give you the name of the river and they might ask you, okay, this particular river flows through which countries. Okay, so these are all, based upon objective type questions. Clear? Next is the Thames. And if at all not objective, if you get a short note also, if they ask, if you at all you get a question to write a short note, for example, on the river Ural, okay, or you can say the previous rivers which we had done. So you can include all these 5 points and you can frame your own short note answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next.
Yes, ma'am.
Next river.
Ma'am, the Ural.
Ma'am, the Ural.
River Ural. Now the length of this particular river is 2,428 kilometer. Okay, with Ural Mountains forms the boundary between Europe and Asia. Okay, so we remember we just studied about the Ural Mountains also. Okay, it forms the boundary to which countries? To
Europe and Asia.
Okay, now next is Ural Mountains. What is the source?
Ural Mountains.
Okay, through Ural Mountains we have this particular river flowing, which is the Ural River. Okay, now which country does this particular river flow through?
Ma'am, Russia and some parts of Europe.
And some parts of
Russia and some parts of Europe.
And the mouth is the Caspian Sea. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Next is the Thames. Okay, the next river is River Thames. Okay. Now I'm just explaining you right now. We will also see it in a form of a quiz. We'll do a quiz based upon this, and we will find out the location and from where these particular rivers are flowing. Clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So let me just complete this, and then we will come back with a quiz also.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Next is the Thames. I think I haven't completed Thames. Let me complete Thames. Yes. Thames, what is the length of the river Thames? It is
330 kilometers.
330
kilometers long. And it is second longest river in Britain. Please underline this. Which is the second longest river in Britain, children? It is the
Thames.
Is the Thames.
We will see all these locations even in the maps. Okay, we will do the quiz. I have already prepared a quiz for this. Hopefully, if not in this class, in the next class, I'll share the quiz on these rivers.
I didn't know that Great Britain was in Europe, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
but
it
then
was.
Before I wanted, we do the map work, and then before we do the quiz on these rivers, I have also collected maps. Okay, where each of the rivers which we have studied today is being shown on the labeled on the particular map. So though that map also I will probably share in the next class. But first I wanted you all to understand about these rivers. Okay, then I can go on with the next, with the quiz and with the maps. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Second longest river in Great Britain is
Thames.
Thames.
Okay, London is situated on it. Okay, So this is also something, you should remember. Please underline in your textbooks. Next is, what is the source of this particular river?
Cotswold Mountains.
Cotswold
Mountain.
And this river, that is River Thames, flows across England. Okay.
Ma'am, the whole of England?
Yes. Okay. And the mouth is North
Sea.
The last river which we will study today is the river Seine. Okay. What is the length of this particular river? It's
780
kilometers.
780 kilometers.
Kilometer long. Okay. Paris, please underline, Paris is the main city on its banks. Okay. So, now you know where is Paris located. Okay. It's the main city on its bank, or located on which bank? Bank of River
Seine. River Seine.
Okay. Now, what's the source of this particular river, children?
Côte d'Or.
Côte d'Or.
Burgundy, or you can say France.
France.
Côte d'Or, or you can also call it as Burgundy. Okay. Now, which country does this river flow through?
France.
In Europe, it flows through France. Okay. And the English, and the mouth of it is the English Channel. Okay. Shall I share the quiz with you now or in the next class? I have prepared a quiz based on.
Ma'am, we only have 1 minute, ma'am.
Ma'am, only 1 minute.
Understood. Basically, before
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Understood.
Understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Shall we just revise?
Okay, ma'am.
Which is the longest one?
Ma'am, the longest is Volga.
Volga.
Okay. Which is the second longest one?
Danube.
Okay. All right. Okay. Which river has Paris on its bank?
The Seine.
The Seine.
All right. And which river is situated in London?
And the Thames.
The Thames.
Okay. Thames flows through which country?
England, the whole of England.
The whole of England.
Okay. So I hope you all understood about all the details of these rivers.
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone, no questions? So
No, ma'am.
how many rivers do we have in Europe in
1,
total?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rivers.
6.
And compared to Africa, which we studied how many?
Ma'am, Africa also had 6
rivers.
rivers.
Ma'am.
Main.
Main 5.
Main 5.
Main were 5. Okay. And here we have 6 rivers. Okay.
6.
So you might get a differentiation also. Okay. Based upon they might give you 2 rivers and ask you to differentiate. Okay. Clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in the next class, I'm going to share the quiz with you, and we will do the map work also. Shall we have
Okay,
a look
ma'am.
if we have 1 more minute, can we have a look at the map where we can see these rivers?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Or
Happily.
it's time up? No, it's time up. I think I'll show you it in the next class. I know
Okay,
you're
ma'am.
too excited. No problem. Okay.
Yes,
And we have one more class
We
today.
have one more
Yes,
class.
Ma'am, we have one more class.
Yes. Okay.
Ma'am, when there are small chapters to study, no, ma'am, it is fun to study small
Yes,
Yes,
chapters.
ma'am, because you can complete it easily
This
and then you
particular
have.
chapter is very interesting, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Janam, you're raising your hand, Bita. Do you have a question?
No, ma'am, sorry.
Okay. Maybe to give the answer you had raised, right? Okay. Fine. So let's stop here for today,
Ma'am,
everyone.
there is also one map on the book, ma'am, of rivers.
Yes, yes, we have. That's what I told you. Now, I have prepared a PPT based upon maps on rivers, and there is also a quiz. But the thing is, I wanted to share only after explaining it to you. So once you have understood now I can share the quiz and the map with you.
Ma'am, we are done with explanation part of Europe, right,
Yes.
ma'am?
We will do the question answers also very soon. First, we will do the map work through Atlas, and then the quiz, and then we'll do the question answers.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye,
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
ma'am.